The opening ceremony of the 33rd Olympic Games caused worldwide outrage. It's no longer a shock to see satanic or occult elements in such shows, but it's not every day that you see it so blatant, blasphemous, and abominable. For some, it was a thoroughly satanic spectacle. Let's take a look at why this is being claimed. First, we see here a gruesome version of the iconic work The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, which depicts Christ and his apostles. The apostles here are portrayed by provocative transvestites and half-naked people in ugly clothes. The lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender scene is shown, which Christians view as sinful. Christ is portrayed by a very overweight woman who describes herself as a lesbian disc jockey. Every person looks completely dehumanized, with few clear characteristics of a male or female person. The countries arrive on ships, and these uncanny men with breasts and dresses are shown in an obtrusive way. After that, Philippe Catherine sings his song titled Naked, fittingly in an almost naked state. According to the director, he is supposed to represent Dionysus, the god of wine, joy, grapes, as well as ecstasy and madness, which is already questionable. But no one mentions the similarity to the often used depiction of Adam, aside from how accurate this depiction is. The lyrics and the simultaneous resemblance to a monkey cannot be ignored. In between, the word obscurity is displayed, which means darkness or gloom. What a cheerful opening ceremony. But the creepiest thing about this scene is that among these devilish people, there is a child. Everyone should draw their own conclusions about that. Incredibly satanic or just a coincidence? After that, it got even more interesting. Next, a rider gallops through the night in Paris to deliver the Olympic flag. The skeletal and robotic appearance of the horse, as well as the dark accompanying music, triggered mixed feelings among viewers and commentators. What's supposed to be so dark about this theme? Many believe they saw a reference to a terrible theme from the Bible in this. The staging of the fourth horseman of the apocalypse. According to the Bible, the so-called four horsemen of the apocalypse announce the end of the world. Each horseman stands for something different. The fourth horseman is often depicted as a ghostly and terrifying figure and rides on a gaunt horse. Here we have a gaunt and additionally robotically designed horse. Age of enormous digitalization and artificial intelligence. The interpretation behind it is uncanny, especially if the fourth horseman of the apocalypse was really depicted. His arrival brings plagues, hunger, war, and death. What was the purpose of this show? Another reason why people believe that this is actually about Satanism is the golden statue that was shown. Many people believe this was a reference to the golden calf from the story of Moses. The statue's long presence is only partly relevant. Ultimately, it was purposefully included in the celebration. Moses had climbed Mount Sinai to receive the 10 Commandments from God. During his absence, the Israelites became impatient and asked to have a god made for them that they could worship. He collected the gold that the Israelites owned and melted it down to form a calf from it. The golden calf served as an idol for the Israelites, which they claimed had brought them out of Egypt. The golden calf thus symbolizes turning away from God and turning toward idols. Several dozen headless Marie Antoinettes as a reference to the history of France. In all the windows of the building, she is holding her severed head in her hand, her blood spraying everywhere. It was criticized worldwide, including by prominent figures. Hungary's Prime Minister described it as an illustration of the moral decline of the West. In the letter, which has now been signed by more than 30 bishops, the Catholic prelates explain, "It is hard to understand how the faith of more than 2 billion people can be so carelessly and deliberately disparaged. If you ignore all the profound symbols, the show is still left with its bare, malicious style, but it would be naive to disregard the profound elements. When you prepare such a gigantic celebration for the whole world, you think of every detail." And how was the flag raised? The 3 rings must be on top, not at the bottom. The reversal of moral, ethical, and biological norms, the erasure of certain boundaries, the establishment of new boundaries. A lot needs to be questioned here. The constant attempt to secretly destroy original religious values. A rainbow Kaaba stands for the freedom to live out everything, even religion itself, however you want. But it destroys the true rules of Islam. You can celebrate tolerance, but if you do it at the expense of other values, it becomes intolerance. The freedom of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender supporters reaches the limits of our freedom. Since when has our world advocated for such a small group of people to this extent? The supporters are being created more than brought together. Look at these images and imagine watching the opening ceremony of a sporting event with your children. How does that affect the next generation? But if all the symbols are interpreted correctly, it's much more than just blatant lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender advertising. It's an attack on our belief in one God. It's the normalization of questionable and harmful trends. And everyone has to ask themselves who is doing this and why.